Ironwood Games. This is Andrew, and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to jump into a quick draft of Brothers War. So, without much ado... Alright, so I've drafted this a little bit. I'm not necessarily very good at it, but we're going to see what we can get. Kind of taking a look. Emergency Weld I really do like, is pretty good. Precursor Golem is a good card. 5 mana for 9 power. And then you can copy spells that target it. Unfortunately, this also works for your opponent, so if they can target it with like removal, then they do get to remove all of them. So it would be interesting as like a first pick and go with like prowess type kind of maybe build. Thinking about that. My Rel I haven't played with. I'm not even sure if I'm familiar. So let's see. During your turn, opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. X is the number of soldiers. So it definitely feels like a go wide. Soldiers approach. There's some other stuff. Battery Bearer is good. Stone Seeker is good. I don't know how I feel about Forging the Anchor. Like I said, Emergency Weld is great. A couple of these red cards, there's plenty of good red. Epic Confrontation is great. Air Marshal is mid. I'm tempted to take Myrel. Just as a decent creature, a 3/4 for 4, that could go into a Soldiers if like blue-white Soldiers is open, and doesn't cost anything. Otherwise it's just a good card, and we take it, we see what's open. Precursor Golem is the other thought here. And then again, like I say, you'd want to maybe try and go to like a prowess deck, so you have combat tricks, other things that are trying to instants and sorceries target creatures like Whirling Strike and that kind of thing, which could be good. I don't know how to build that deck, so we'd have to kind of figure it out, but I also don't know how to build the blue-white soldiers, and we'd have to figure that out. I'm gonna go with the Myrel only because it's mythic. The Precursor Golem seems very interesting. I love the idea of it, but I think we're going to go with Myrel, and if we don't end up in white-blue soldiers, I'm less upset. I think Precursor Golem is good. It fits in. Even if we don't end up with that deck, I still think it's good and fits in. But now that I say that, I'm kind of convincing myself that I should take Precursor Golem just because it does fit into anything as a decent 5-drop. No, I want to take Myrel. I think it might be right to take Precursor Golem, but I want to try this just to see what we get. And again, if we end up in that archetype, then really good. And if not, I'm not too worried. Top for Architect. Target creature gains flying. I don't know if I love that. Excavation Explosion, pretty good. 3 artifact cards, put them into the graveyard. Disciples, I think can be good if you've got like unearth targets, or you've got regrowth things. Self-assemblers, pretty decent. Scrapwork Cohort, I think, works best with what we have. And it's a decent card. It creates the soldiers. It lets us go wide. I don't know that it's something you need right away, given what we've kind of already got and what we've seen. Neither one of those seem great. Both of these are decent, kind of green. We could take the dig site just as a good card. Excavation Explosion might just be the best card in the pack, kind of in a vacuum. I'm not sure about the Stopter Architect. It could be really good. If we're creating those soldiers, are they artifact creatures? So that would play well. Let's take Architect, since it might go in with this and picking up a couple of like cohorts late. These Warlord elites are, I think, good in that case. And let's see what happens. All right, no one left behind. Creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield is pretty good. If you go with some black recursion stuff, I don't really care for Fall of Krug. Yoshin Dissident. Whatever I've been put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. In like green white go wide artifacts, that could be really good, which does fit with what we've got. The Ichor Wellspring, Airlift Chaplain, planes or creature cards. So we could go kind of 3 or less recursion, which in that case I think No One Left Behind is better. As an uncommon and just something that actually gets you. This works better, I think, when you have something like No One Left Behind. Phalanx is decent if we want to kind of force that archetype. Boulder Branch Golem is good if you end up in that in green. If not, you can get to 7 just to stabilize. Can be pretty good. I'm torn, and I think this is a decision point here. That if we take the Dissident, we kind of want to start looking at, we're going along with what we have in the white, and at least maybe a splash of green, kind of solidifying that, which I think, again, is better than the Chaplain and the Vanguard if we're going to just get a white card. The Vanguard's not bad, but at common, I think it comes back, and I think this putting counters on creatures, especially like Myrel, who we want to be able to attack with, could be good. Or we could pick No One Left Behind, which could go in with what we have, could leave us open to Black X, anything. And this I really don't know. With the things we have, I do like this Yoshin Dissident. There's a lot of decent mana 3 or less things. This also can get back a bomb on it. And I can tell this is an important decision point. I don't know what the right decision is, and I don't want to waste all of our time here kind of on this. Yeah, let's go in. Again, the artifact triggers with like Myrel, I think. Let's go all in on this. Of course, it may not. We may still get signals or something else maybe more open that makes sense, but let's take a look. Graveyard to the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone. I think that's good in this if we have good artifact targets. We don't have any enchantments or planeswalkers to get. I think Lauren's Escape is fine. Survivor of Corliss is a better card with everything we've got here. Goblin Firebomb is fine. Again, it does play in with an artifact. It would give us repair and recharge targets. But 5 mana to get back a 1 mana spell seems a little bad. I wouldn't want multiple of these repair and recharge, and I don't know how likely we are to see another one. Where like Survivor definitely fits in the deck we have. And feels fine. We're not committed to the green. Nothing in blue or red is really... The Rock Hunter is a soldier, and that's interesting with my rel. So I think it's between Repair and Recharge here and Survivor. Like I said, I don't know that we want to see multiple of these, and we don't have any targets for it yet. So I'm going to take the Survivor. And again, just kind of lean into maybe a low curve. Aggro, go wide, something. The Rust Goliath is a great target for that recharge and repair. Black wide, go wide with sacrifice could be interesting. I do like the Dragon Engine. Just as a flyer with the pump ability in red. Military Discipline is great as a flash. Prison Sentence as just lockdown kind of removal in white is good. Depth Charge Colossus I think is probably worse than the Rust Goliath with everything we've got going on. And Scrapwork Rager is good, but I don't think what this deck wants right now. Conscripted Infantry might be the second best. I think the Philology Dragon engine is better, but I think it does go in this deck, and we wouldn't mind having a couple of those to pick up if we're looking like red-white, red-green looks decently open in our seat. The question is whether like Prison Sentence is really good is necessary. I like this Dragon Engine though. I think we're gonna take it. Again, we could splash red. We don't have to play the red at all. Evangelist Synthesis. I don't think we need that. I like the Steel Exemplar if we're heavy in one color or we're doing Power Stones. But so far we're not in either of those. Emergency Weld is really good. It plays into the things we're kind of looking at. Philology Chain Dancer is decent. Pay to give it double strike. We can equip it in white. It is a soldier. I think given the trample is nice on that, I think we're looking at Emergency Weld or Chain Dancer. Emergency Weld is interesting, but I think we're going to go with Chain Dancer as it gives us a little more red. I'm not sure what we've seen in black to make us want to be black, and we could always splash maybe an Emergency Weld. Spell costs 3 more to cast except during controller's turn. I don't think that's a good artifact for what we're trying to do. This is a perfect type of thing for the Chain Dancer. We might take it. The Forge Chanter is really good. Infiltrator's interesting. I think Desynchronize is fine, but we're not seeing a lot of blue. This is just a fine curve filler. And the Ambush Paratrooper could be pretty good. I'm going to take the Power Suit. It's something to do. It equips stuff. It does give us some options. Here, Mass Production actually might be really good in this deck. Aeronaut's Wings could be decent, just as a, again, something else to go on the Chain Dancer. On that, we're likely to see another one. I don't know how many equipment I want to play. The military discipline as an aura is really good. I think I'm going to grab one mass production. Again, it makes colorless soldier artifact tokens, which trigger some of our other things. And so we're going to see what this deck might look like if it comes together. I really don't know what this deck might look like. Whirling Strike is good, just as a combat trick. I think I want to take Domination again on the Chain Dancer, Power Suit. It's good. I wouldn't mind having one of them, and I think we saw Whirling Strike in one of the other packs that might come back, so we could pick it up in the next pack or so whenever that comes through. Here, I like Warlord's Elite. It's cheaper if you have gone wide. If not, you can cast it for 5 essentially to get a 4/4, and it's decent. The other option is the self-assembler, but I don't think we're going assembly workers at this point, or the dig site. But let's take the Warlord's Elite. I like that. So Fall of Krug is definitely one that can be bad against us since we're going wide. But since we're quick drafting against bots and we're cross-potting, like, this isn't something I need to take. If we were in pod play, this might be something to take just because it could be so bad against us. I think the Power Blade might actually be really good in this soldier. Again, Chain Dancer, Thran. I don't know how many I want, and that's likely to see something we see again. So I think it's between these two. I'm going to take the Airlift Chaplain, because I think we'll play the creature more likely. If we don't have a Power Blade, that's bad, but I don't want 3 or 4 of these, and I wouldn't mind a few extra creatures. So thinking we can pick up a Power Blade in one of the other packs as we go. I think the Escape, just as a combat trick, save something, is better than removal. But the Firebomb's not bad. It is an artifact. It does give us stuff. Here we want that military discipline. I like the Rust Goliath, but I don't think we're going to play heavy green. And we're not looking to go big on artifacts. We'll take the Union, but I'm putting it in the sideboard. I don't think it's good, and that'll go to our sideboard. All right, pack 2 here. We've got Misery Shadow, which is interesting, but I don't think fits with what we're doing. Psychosis Crawler is just a really good card. We might pick it up just because it's a 5-drop artifact that has decent upside. Skyfisher Spider's good, but we're kind of out of that area. Deadly Riposte is good as a decent removal. There's another Power Blade. This Combat Courier, I think, is fine, even without the Unearth ability. Unleash Shell is decent. Pick up the Tower Worker here, or that. But I think the pick is Psychosis Crawler just because unless you end up, in top deck at the very end, and it's just a 0/0, if you can at least keep a card in hand and keep it alive, then every turn you draw it drains your opponent, or pings them for 1. And that does make Unions of the Third Path a little bit better on that. So we'll take the Psychosis Crawler. Also makes things like Key to the City interesting and a little bit better. Let's see, what else do we have, though? Yoshin Tactician. Again, this would be great if we were doing white-blue soldiers. We could splash the blue instead of splashing the green. But I think the artifact synergy is a little bit better here. Scrapwork Cohort we said was decent. It is a soldier. It creates another soldier. It kind of gives us double triggers on some of these things. Bitter Reunion, interesting with our Psychosis Crawler. I think Key to the City is too cute for what we're doing with our Go Wide. And I think we could take the Tactician just as a maybe. But I don't think it enables our Go Wide strategy or anything. And I think the Scrapwork Cohort, I don't mind having a couple of these, triggers enough stuff and is better for what we're doing. Tokasia, exile from your graveyard, 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't know that that's bad. I don't know we play it, but I might take it because it's the rare. But let's see what else we have. Epic Confrontation, really, really good. Recommission, a really good card. And Mishra's Juggernaut, also not bad. Sibling Rivalry can be fine in this. And I'm tempted to take this. Probably won't play it. We'll probably just throw it in the side. However, giving my creatures vigilance if we're going wide and tap to surveil, we can dig into kind of what we need. It wouldn't necessarily be bad if we do end up picking a little more blue and going a little wide. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards I wouldn't mind picking up. I think are decent. And maybe 6 or 7 that could still make something. So I'm gonna take Tokasia as a rare that I haven't played with. Oh no. Here we go. But I'm gonna put it in the side. Come on. Okay, I don't know what is going wrong right now. It is acting up on me, so hang on. Okay, I bounced out and back in, and we were able to put Tokasia in the sideboard, and we're on the next pick here. So let's see, what is Soul Partition? Exile target. Exile target non-land permanent for as long as that card remains exiled. Its owner may play it. A spell cast by an opponent this way costs 2 more to cast. So we can kind of remove something, but they can get it back. I don't know how good that is. Swift Spear is interesting. It's the first one we've seen, and we're not really going in that prowess direction. Bonesaw could be interesting with a little bit of what we're doing. Again, go wide, being able to equip stuff and make more things isn't a bad idea. Race to the Ground I like just as straight up removal, and I think I will take it. Bonesaw is really good. It's a contender. I think just this is removing kind of ridiculous artifact problems. Can be good. I'm not sure about Keeper of the Kittens. I know we're not in this deck at all. I've just not figured out what it's good at other than, I guess, removing artifacts. But let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm not seeing the beauty of it and it's really, really good. Swiftfoot Boots is interesting. I don't think, like, we'd rather have a Bonesaw or something else. I think I don't generally like it. We already have a Domination. Mineworker is is interesting and not bad. I think this might be where we take the Power Blade. This can be okay if we've gone artifact heavy, but we haven't. And Levitating Statue can be interesting in, again, like that Prowess deck, but I don't think we're there. I think I'll take the Power Blade here and have one. Hero of the Dunes. Is definitely interesting in a go-wide strategy. I don't know how many random colors we want to splash. I'm thinking the Thopter might just be better. The Power Stone Engineer can ramp us a little bit, but we don't have big things to ramp into. And I mean, we're not even heavy in red. I just don't know if this is worth splashing black as a 5-drop. If we're already thinking splashing green, blue, yeah, I don't like it. I think it's between the Engineer, which is interesting for like getting those Power Stones, for equipments and other things. But I think the Thopter is just better here at this point. Tome is really good, just for drawing, for things like Psychosis Crawler, but I think Recommission is what we want. We have enough targets right now. Yeah, artifact or creature. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're looking to pick up more. Things like that Rock Hunter get a little bit better that way. Even a Levitating Statue isn't a bad just as a target. And I think we don't mind having 1 Recommission. We already have a mass production. I don't think we need 2. Soul Guide Lantern is interesting. But I think just an Artifact Drake with flying, I think in that 5 slot is fine. Here I think the Riposte is just a good card with removal. The other option is this Tower Worker, as a way to ramp for things like the Dragon Engine, the mass production. But I think this gives us some removal. We don't need another Riposte. I do like Survivor. I think the other option is Dig Site, but I think the Survivor and the Scry, we don't mind having 2 of those. Here we got another option for a Recommission, but I think the Mishra's Juggernaut as just a better 5-drop might be better than either of these, depending on where we go. Might just make it as a 5 slot. Might cut the engine for it. Here, we didn't take the Tower Worker, so I don't know that the Power Plant Worker is worth it. I think the Bone Saw is just a better option. Here, I'm going to take Slagstone for the sideboard. Neither one matter to me. And we'll get rid of that. Alright, so pack 3, let's see. Feldon. I don't know that Feldon's good. Not particularly in this deck either. Scrapwork Cohort, just as a creature that puts more things on the, puts 2 bodies on the board, is really good. And Warlord's Elite. So the Warlord's Elite has the advantage of being recommissionable. because it's 3 or less, although the Scrapwork cohort is good, puts in extra things. This Feldon is interesting, but I think we're just going to take the Warlord's Elite. Combat Thresher is definitely a fun card. It's in our colors. Mox Amber I don't think is good for us, although it's a mythic, it's interesting. Ambush Paratrooper might be something that our deck wants. The Forge Chanter is okay. I don't know if we have enough to activate him. So with trying to stay kind of low, I'm going to take the Paratrooper. I like the Combat Thresher. This gets recommissioned. Yeah, I think that's better. What on earth do we have? Because this is decent if we have a lot of unearth. We have 1, 2, 3. Can also be good on the dragon engines. I just don't know if it's worth the card. I think Excavation Explosion is just better for us. Or we can take a creature. What is our creature count? 16. Warlord's Elite, again, we could take another one that's decent. We could take a Reconstructed Thopter. I think that's also decent, and then would make like this on the wheel a little bit better. But I think just a removal option to see how we build. Building's going to be interesting. We know we need to cut a couple of things already. The cavalry is pretty good. Sibling rivalry can be a good finish. If we're going wide, we, take their one big guy and stomp them, but I don't know that that's what this deck wants. Cavalry with the flying probably replaces the Drake in the 5-drop slot, which I think I'm okay with. It makes sense. So we're going to move that Drake. Again, we're looking at cutting 3 or 4 cards. Still here, it could be this Dissident. Just for colors. Frontliner. That seems really good. We're not in the blue. Whirling Strike is good. I don't like Scrapsmith for our deck here. Let's take the Frontliner. I don't know that it makes it. It might get cut for other things. Here, I think I will take the Tactician. There's a chance we could, in the end, decide to play it instead of this green, or we could cut both and not splash either, which is probably looking like what I'm gonna end up doing. Here, we'll take a Fall of Crew, throw it in the sideboard. Unless there's something like really great that stands out, I think we're just kind of taking sideboard. Again, that, depending on what we see, we may like that in the end. Here we could take another Dragon Engine. I'm not going to play it. Or we could take the Dig Site. If we're only running 2 colors, I think the Dig Site has a good chance of making it and is decent. Here, the Forge Chanter is really good as a 2-drop. Onulet's okay, but we already have decent 5s. So I think we'll take Forge Chanter and see what else it looks like we need. Okay, haste could be interesting with our go wide, but I don't love it. If this was a soldier, it'd be really good, but I think our flash soldier is better, so I'm going to take that for the sideboard. Given that it's an uncommon and does something, I think for the same. I'm not looking to play any of those. Yeah, I think again we'll just take that for the sideboard in case we decide like it's better than the Dragon Engine. Sure, sideboard and sideboard. All right, I'm not sure if what we have is good. What we've built, we do have the Union. If we decide we want to kind of go into the Psychosis Crawler, let's just take a look here. I've got 17 creatures, 11 non-creatures. 17, it looks like 5 cards to cut. And so it might be some of those non-creatures. I think Frontliner as a creature gets cut. So looking at Lauren's Escape, Proof and Indestructible, saves us from a kill spell. Removal can be removal or buff. Removal. I like all of our equipment. I just don't know if we need all of it, and that might be something to cut. Like, do we cut? So it has flash though. Gives first strike. So do we cut perhaps domination in favor of the discipline? Because we have other removals. Yeah, I like the sound of that. I think we'll see how much artifacts we make. I think we have enough with these guys. My realm makes them on attack, which then could give them flying before blockers. Sure, okay. Is mass production? I mean, it creates 4 soldiers, which could be decent. I just don't know if they're... What else, like, cares about the number of soldiers we have? Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to cut mass production. Oops. No, I want the Dragon Engine to stay in here. Where'd you go? There you go. Let's see. If any of the things that we've already cut make sense to put back in. And I don't think so. The only one, like this Dissident, I think can be really good. If we were green white, but I think just for colors, it makes sense to cut it. Here, we're looking for 2 more cuts. I'm tempted to cut this airlift chaplain. It's not a soldier. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it. So let's see, what do we have? 15 creatures, 9 non-creatures. Any of our non-creatures actually creatures? Recommission is... I don't really want to cut more creatures. We're trying to go wide and put stuff on them, so I think we've got to cut one of our equipment. +2 + 0 + 1 + 0. I think the bone saw gets cut. And then we're there. So let's see, what do we have? 8 non-creatures, 15 creatures. I like our curve. We've got stuff to do. Surveil, scry. Some ways to spend mana we can equip. Just taking one last look here. I don't know how this is going to be. We're going to get to try a few of these things out. Like Psychosis Crawler may not be good in this build. I do like it as a card, especially late if you've got lands to keep in your hand. We don't need to get to the 8 for this. It can be decent as a 3-drop depending on the game, and this just gets bigger. They have to deal with it, or every turn they're losing life. Juggernaut tends to at least trade with something. I feel like the must attack is always a weird drawback, but something like this, the trample, the 5/3, more often than not, they don't have 6/6 or bigger, or even an X6, a 3/6 or better to trade with, just to eat it. And when they do, then you just don't unearth it or you don't play it. But early on, if you can get into it, I would like a couple more maybe ways to make power stones to ramp out something like the Juggernaut on turn 3 or 4, or consistently at least on turn 4. I think we have enough targets for recommission that I feel comfortable with that. So yeah, we're gonna send this one, and we'll see you guys in gameplay.